allow me to introduce Philly, Kitty, Owen, Loin, Darling, Biffa, Buffer, Bumper, Dory, Ori.
And this is how to be a dwarf.
Some very bad, really well, most of us.
It's not genetic, is it?
Yeah. A couple of us very well, Mark Hadler, Jimmy Nesbitt, very close.
The rest were turned down in the next election.
Well, I think after our first sort of run through, I think you said this before, like most of us got reduced to humming.
Yeah.
So I was humming.
I didn't hum.
But in defence, I have to say that the finished article that we all produced, from the perspective of what you hear, was absolutely incredible, and everyone sang, even though they may have been humming. It was an extraordinary experience.
They were absolutely humming, and there's
I mean, there's humming in this house.
Everyone's humming.
Exquisite hummers, some of them.
You get a great stuntman who was a former All-New Zealand wrestler who just is going to make me look brilliant.
It comes from the lower part of your body, like all the fighting from the dwarves comes from the belly. It's kind of that's your part of momentum that carries you forward, and it's
like
quite
rolling
scrappy.
a bowling ball into a whole lot of skittles. That's how that's
And dwarves fight together. We get together when we fight. We actually clump together as a group, and we fight as one.
They also fight ferociously.
Very vicious, insane.
Yeah, you definitely want to have them next to you in a fight.
Quite
They're
quite dirty.
Even with the catapult.
Oh wow. Yes. Fight to the death.
And we fight as a team. We
shot.
throw weapons to each other. We fight very, very much as a team.
This is the man here you talk to about that.
I think that the key to Dwarvish cuisine is as much food as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
and that's really, that's it really.
And cooking is optional.
It's kind of the first thing we think about when we wake up.
It's not a decent meal unless it ends in a food fight.
Yeah.
We had 2 or 3 food fights.
Which were quite extraordinary, weren't they?
They were
They went crazy.
I tell you what, the food we had there was fantastic. That was worth doing the job alone for it, you know.
There were some bits of food that we would all avoid, though, weren't there? There was kind of the sausages, did it?
No, the black sausage. I did a whole one.
That was raw. You didn't realise it was raw.
Yeah, that was me.
Uncooked black sausage.
I really felt for the poor people who had to reset the table time after time for one take after. How they managed that, I do not know.
Some people even walked on the food, I believe.
They did.
Walked
Yeah, I
through
believe
the
that was
food.
me.
Walked on it.
And towards the end of the day, after the food fight, the smell started to get really interesting of sort of like food that had been spread everywhere.
How many eggs did you eat? I was just about to ask you that question. How many eggs did you eat?
I ate at least a dozen.
Nothing else.
I did. Well,
having had 6 for breakfast before you get in the question.
yeah, I had eggs the morning after actually as well. But
And boy, did we know about it later.
And he's still digesting some of them.
yeah, well, because I made the choice, I'm going to eat an egg, and I just had to keep doing it because Andy just kept saying.
Yeah, every plumber in New Zealand was employed in that job.
And at least every plumber in New Zealand was at my trailer, I think, at one point in time.
Oh, that was.
Quite a suspicious bunch.
Very suspicious.
They don't trust people.
General fear about themselves.
Really, you'd need to be related to us in some way. Yeah, you'd need to be related before we could have relations.
Pardon?
Maybe your side of the family.
Dwarves are suspicious, and so they set the bar quite high. But once you're welcomed into the group, then it's like, it's a lifetime achievement.
Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Fiercely loyal.
And that's what happens with Bilbo in the film.
We did it through our training, like Dwarf Boot Camp. We were literally chucked into doing the gym, sword training, horse riding lessons.
The luxury of about
Actually,
10 weeks.
one of the great things was how I bonded with Graham at Tavish. Graham would just be standing on set in costume and just standing there. I would go and stand very close to Graham, just stand there to feel the awe, to feel his, what he was doing at the time, how he was feeling.
Where are you going?
And
so troubling.
Doesn't bonding imply you're both?
It was a great way to feel these connections.
And to be quite honest, we also had a roaring social life. Did we? Well,
No, we
I wasn't invited, but apparently Jimmy had a great social life.
Well, yeah, I mean, we shot like how many hours in a day? I mean, we spent most of the day with each other for 18 months, so that was our social life, really.
We're kind of 2 different people. Like, we were socialising on set with us in the makeup, and then it's different, completely different person.
You saw different people at the weekends. That's absolutely true. At the weekend was the only time when we were not in Pacific. It was like So you kind of had to reacquaint yourself every week again.
Oh, that's what you look like.
You had to be ginger, I think.
You have to have really,
Sorry, boys.
really beautifully done hair.
Yeah, they're very into their hair.
Yeah.
I think we carry a lot of hair product around.
There are actually only 2 of the dwarves who have female companions out of this troop, and one of the prerequisites for that is that their women have long hair. We don't like women who are tall and slim and hairless, really. So if you're thinking sexy, you need to talk to Bomber and you need to talk to Gloin, because they are the sexy.
Oh yes, of course.
Again, that's the ginger.
It's the ginger ninjas.
But you have something like 14 children.
Oh, I lost count.
Dragon? What dragon?
Nobody told us about that.
Fire retardant skin is a good start.
Yeah.
Just have a team of dwarves around you. I mean,
We're
that's
quite
an unbeatable force.
I'd say running quickly in the opposite direction myself, but
Or getting behind and always being behind it. Otherwise, you're in deep trouble.
Push somebody in front of you.
but not another dwarf.
Not another dwarf.
Volunteer. There you go. Good on you, mate. Yeah.